Hello, everyone. And today on Geekanomicon, we're going to continue with vampires. And I'm sorry I didn't bring out the club music from this movie, but it would have been kind of annoying because it gets kind of repetitive after a while. It's great for the intro, not so great if you have to listen to it over and over and over, which of course I did not. So, yes, you guessed it today. We're going over Blade, the Vampire Hunter, or as he was originally dubbed in the comics, Blade the Vampire Killer. It's created by Marv Wolfman and artist Gene Colan. His first appearance was in Tomb of Dracula number 10 in 1973. It's been quite a while for this character. Predates Buffy, predates Twilight, predates quite a bit. He actually came about when there wasn't a lot vampire out there other than Bram Stoker's Dracula and maybe a few other things. Not sure it was Salem's Lot at that point. No, I don't think it was. But you know what? I'm probably going to get told I was wrong and be chewed out. But who cares? His origin, believe it or not, this is kind of what always has shocked me, is the movie here that you're looking at actually has a tamer version of his origin than his actual origin. For one, his mom wasn't sweet and innocent. His mom was whore. And when she was giving birth in a whorehouse, no less, Deacon Frost showed up and started feasting on her while she was giving birth. Yeah. Pretty gruesome, even for comic books. Back in 1973, that was pretty dark. And to go into his powers a little bit, they're not like in the movie that much. I'll get back into that in a little bit. But because of this, because of what happened with his mom and Deacon, he was given the ability to have a long life and sense supernatural creatures. That is pretty much it. But I'll get back into those differences in a little bit. It wasn't until the more recent storylines also that Blade became known as Daywalker, and primarily in the comic books he became Daywalker in reflection to the movies, not for any storyline that was actually going on. In the comics, it was actually an issue of Amazing Spider-Man where he took on Morbius the Living Vampire, and Morbius the Living Vampire bit him and gave him a whole slew of new abilities, and basically became a living vampire himself, which then became dubbed as the Daywalker. Now, as I mentioned, as with most comic book to movie translations, we can expect change. No matter how cool the movies were, they still diverged quite a bit from his origin. For instance, in the comics, he tended to he tended to brag a lot. He was really he got a vampire. He wasn't afraid to let people know. And hey, I'm pretty good at doing this, and don't care who you are. Don't care if you got webs or claws or whatnot. I'm good at this. Leave me alone. However, in the movies and television show, we actually got a more revered, laid-back, got wait-and-see type of hunter. Also, believe it or not, Blade in the comics was born in England. He's even joined a supernatural version of MI6. In mainstream movies, he was born in Detroit. Same with the television show. And perhaps the biggest change was his blood glasses. In the comics, guess what? Yeah, you guessed it. Until the movies, Blade didn't thirst for human blood. So why are we so forgiving of all these changes? That's the main thing I want to get into with Blade today. I think we are more forgiving. Excuse me. My throat's sore. Alrighty. I'm discussing vampires. Why are we so forgiving of the Blade movie series? and the television show and the anime series, as opposed to other reflections of like Spider-Man soups or bats. I think it's because Blade really has, even in a comic book, as a comic book character, never really hit his strides. The movies actually gave him a boost in popularity, even among comic book readers. He wasn't really thought much of, except for writers who wanted to deal with the macabre and the mysticism, which, as over the years has proven, magic and superhero comics really hasn't been very popular. And I think that's where the changes made to him during the movies, for the movies and for the television show, are more accepted than if they were to radically change Spider-Man or Batman or Superman. I know myself, I like the movies a little bit better than the characters I was introduced to, but I have since gone back and read a lot of Tomb of Dracula. And Marv Wolfman and Gene Colan, yeah, hats off to you. That was an outstanding comic book series, and it should have never, ever been canceled. But there's only so much you can push Dracula as a villain. With all good series focused on a villain, it has to come to an end. Not that Dracula's completely dead in the Marvel Universe. He's been brought back many times, especially when the X-Men moved to San Francisco. But I detest that storyline just as much as I detest a certain unbinding of a marriage thanks to a deal with the devil. So that's it, folks. That was my interpretation of Blade and how we have been a little bit forgiving with the changes where he's concerned over the years. And that is yet another little notch on our Vampire Week. It was brought to my attention, why am I not doing sharks? Okay, there's not a lot I can do with Shark Week when it's already on the Discovery Channel. I will have my own Shark Week next year. If the show is still going on, I'll do a Shark Week, and I will have quite a bit of material. I've already got a couple things that I want planned for that one. But this week, yes, we're sticking with vampires, and I thought it was kind of a cool play on what's going on with Discovery Channel this week. But that brings us to tomorrow. Tomorrow, we are going to go over the granddaddy of all fiction pieces that brought vampires into the literary landscape.